Can we start? Can we start? Am I audible?
Audible, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, madam.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So now we'll continue with the gender planning. So gender planning is nothing but already have said, we looked at it gender gap. So based on the gender gap, and also, when we think about gender mainstreaming, we have to plan the programs and also the approach should be with the gender lens and then with the gender focus. We have to include the gender roles that is played by the women and men in the society, that we have to take into a consideration, and based on their different needs we have to plan the programs or the projects, and also the schemes. And when it comes to gender relations, this is actually the social relation between men and women of that particular group. So there is, if we look at it, the uh, in the tribal areas, the gender relation is different. There is no, vast gap between men and women. There is a gap, but it is only a narrowed one. Whereas if we take the non-tribal community, so there is the difference or the gender relations is actually it's not so based on the equal strategy or equal focus. So, and also the gender relation is like it's a intersect.
Hello, Maruti. Hello. Hello, Maruti.
There is some disturbance, please. Yeah. So gender relation is, what do you mean by intersect? The intersect actually influences the social relations between the men and women of different age, ethnicity, race, and religion. Race and religion, see, in India, we don't have the discrimination based on the race, but there is a discrimination based on the religion, caste, and age. It is there. So these gender relations.
Confusion illala. Confusion ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು. Next class ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾನು ಇದನ್ನ recap ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು next ಇರೋ.
So gender, these relations we have to take into consideration while mainstreaming the program, while planning the program, or while implementing the programs and then the projects. So therefore, is a gender relation is different in different community, different religion, different caste, and different ethnicity, and also different area. Oh, sorry. Rajesh?
Yes, madam.
ಈ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇದು ಇದಾಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ, ಹ್ಯಾಂಗ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮೇಡಮ್.
ಈಗ ಆಯ್ತು. Okay. So the next thing is, there are gender needs is divided into strategic need and the practical needs. Practical need in the sense, see, for example, the scholarship. I'll take example again, the scholarship for the girls and boys. That is a practical need, practical gender need. So irrespective of a gender, either he or she will get a scholarship, merit scholarship. Whereas the strategic gender need is, already have mentioned the Bhagyashree scheme, where because of the feticide, because in Karnataka it was 936 compared to 1000 boys, the government decided that it want to strategically encourage the parents to have girl babies, so that scheme was implemented. That is called the strategic gender needs. Strategic gender needs also, it includes where if any program is planned for the girls and the women, so then women and girls participation is required, and with their participation, with the discussion, I mean discussion with them, the program is planned or the project is planned, so that the women will have say in that particular program, and also um, women will decide for their well-being. I can bring in again the example, like, so in Samakya we used to call the Samakya staff is only the facilitating staff. Samakya staff will not decide on behalf of women. So when the women groups are formed, and then when the training is given, and then generally we'll have a need-based discussion with the women. So based on the need-based discussion and the basic baseline survey, the women will decide what program they wanted it, and what type of scholarship or what type of the program they want, and where and when they wanted it. We also used to have a strategy called space and time. The space and time means that is when the women are available at that time, the staff, Samakya staff used to visit the village and then have a discussion with them, and allow them even to do the household chores before they come for the meeting. So this is actually, it becomes a strategic gender needs, where the women has say in it, and they decide for their own well-being. So this is a difference between strategic and practical gender need. Practical gender need is where the women or the deprived person is not involved in decision making process. It is decided by the, I mean, it can be a top down approach also. It can be decided by the government or decided by the any organization, so that the program is planned or I mean project is implemented. Whereas strategic needs, the stakeholders are involved in deciding what they wanted it. That is the difference between strategic and practical need. So gender budgeting, already I spoken about the gender budgeting. So where the government now, it is become a, I mean, mandatory for all the governments that they have to allocate budget for women's program in all their, I mean, programs and projects, where, for example, like already have said, the schemes which enables the girls or encourages girls and women to decide for their well-being and decide for their economic empowerment, decide for their, I mean, education, health related issues. So therefore gender budgeting becomes important, and it is I think it is a not I think it is a mandatory in all the government programs that gender budget is allotted for the women's program exclusively for the women's well-being, either it is health or education or even in the gram panchayat related issues. And also even in the policies they bring in this gender budget discussions, and it is included in the policies also. For example, women and child development, they do have a, I mean, schemes and programs which exclusively caters to the women, like Santwana, and the other program is called Kelati, and even it is there in some other states like Andhra, everywhere, which is called One Stop Center, where the women, I mean, the survivor of the gender-based violence will get support by the Women and Child Development Department under One Stop Center. All the, I mean, all the supports like legal supports, medical supports, economic support, and even the education for their kids, and temporary shelter also they will get it, so that this helps the survivors to, I mean, leave the house which is which where she cannot where she don't have to be there in violent environment. So that is, this is actually the budget is allotted for these kind of program. And Santwana is where it is again a counseling center for women and girls, again for the, I mean, survivors and other legal matters also. I think Jai Kumari, I think please, Dr. B.R. Jai Kumari, will you mute it?
Sorry, madam, sorry.
Yeah. So then again is a gender analysis. So gender analysis is a, I mean, critical aspect which examines the either gender role is, I mean, the program or project is based on the stereotype roles, or it includes gender equality, equity, whether it has, I mean, included the rights aspect into it, the entitlements that affects men, women, girls, and boys in, I mean, in particular situations and in particular context. So gender analysis becomes very important. So based on the gender analysis, even the action research and then research, um, uh, uh, like baseline survey and endline survey, all will have the gender lens where gender analysis can happen. Through this gender analysis only, we will come to know whether the women has control over resource, or is there are any constraints for her, or she faces any, I mean, a hindrance in acquiring or in having control over resources. Control over resources, it could be anything. It could be finance, or it could be knowledge, it could be education, it could be, I mean, mobility, or it could be, I mean, resource to have a safety environment. So this, therefore, and it becomes a integral part of the all the programs and the projects when we do this monitoring and evaluation. In the previous slide, I said the monitoring evaluation, it becomes a project, one of the aspect of the project cycle, where so it helps us to assess the whether the program is planned with the gender mainstreaming or with the gender lens. Is gender lens is, or the gender mainstreaming is implemented in its true sense? Is there any changes? There is narrow down of the inequalities, or I mean, they could able to address the injustice. All these things uh, can be, I mean, reported only when we have this focus on gender analysis. So this is a gender balance. Gender balance is like a, so in any organizations, it could be government, or it could be MNCs, it could be companies. We have to have a gender balance. Like there is, I mean, any workforce. In the workforce, we have to have a 50-50 kind of a thing, or almost equal to 50-50. The staff pattern has to be the, I mean, gender balance. We have, but in some of the organizations, what happens, even for that matter, any, I mean, organization like CBOs or NGOs, even other private firms, we see at the leadership level, most of them all, I mean, male staff. But when it comes to the field team, it's almost a female staff. There is no balance even in the working pattern and even in the staffing pattern also. So therefore, we have to see that is there is a gender balance in the working pattern as well as in the staffing pattern. In some of the, I mean, NGOs, even when it comes to, I mean, just in one of my friend organization, I came to know that is, yeah, in the interview, they only recruited the, I mean, male supervisors than the female supervisors, thinking that they have to visit all the villages. That's a, I mean, hamlets, so that only male staff can ride a TVS, or I mean, moped. So this is not true. So even the female, I mean, staff also can uh, drive or ride the two-wheelers. So this is still, we have this thinking that is, so the women cannot, I mean, drive, and women cannot travel to the villages in the odd hours. That's true. So then what we have to do? Yeah, women cannot travel in the odd hours, or I mean the early morning, because they have to do all household chores, then they have to come to the office. In that situation, so we have to see, that is, we have to plan strategic gender need. So is it possible for them to travel after 6 or 7 or before, I mean 10, so that in that case where it is possible, we have to plan which villages they can visit during the, I mean 10 to 6 hour, between 10 to 6. So these are the things that we have to look into it while recruiting the staff in any organization. So therefore the gender balance becomes important. Yeah, gender indicators. So we have to have a, I mean, plan in all our programs and projects. Gender indicators, it's like a, we do have a, I mean, when we do the research or qualitative and I mean qualitative research or quantitative research, so we have to have a some, there are I mean indicators that already we have to plan while program or while project is planned before implemented. So we have to have a set of indicators. That indicators will help us to whether our program as a gender disaggregated data, and whether we do have a, I mean we have bringing in gender equality with gender mainstreaming and gender analysis, or we could able to look at the gender gap and gender balance. So based on these indicators, we can assess the program or the project is gender sensitive. So when it is most of you all, you know, that is, I mean quantitative we'll get a numbers, facts, data also we'll get it. Even in qualitative also we will get it, qualitative opinions and feelings, perceptions and the experience we will get a most of it case studies. Based on the case studies we can draw a conclusion that whether it is the program is gender sensitive. Similarly the quantitative, where we get the disaggregated data, whether out of, I mean, do we have a, I mean, how many dropouts, female dropouts and then male dropouts? We will get this from the quantitative, I mean, research. So therefore, the gender indicator becomes important to have certain indicator, set of indicators for the activities or the program or the projects before we implement the project or programs. So gender effect is actually after all this. So we will come to know whether it has an impact on a girl or a woman or the weaker section. So like so for example, we can see, I mean, the state of the world, Nike Foundation in UNICEF, they in their report, they could able to say that is, when a girl in the developing world receives 7 or more years of education, her marriage age is increased. So similarly, even in India also, we could see now, I mean, even from my experience, when I joined in 97, 98, Samakya, I could see in northern Karnataka, the 5 year, not 5 year, I mean 7, 8-year-old girl already got married. So after our intervention, we could see that is the age of marriages has been increased to 18. So this is possible when the education is given to the girl child. So this is called the gender effect, which has on both girls and women, so that they'll have a say and they will decide for their life. So already I discussed about, earlier we used to talk about when gender means only men and women. So now gender in the sense it is, I mean it is a broaden, which includes the sexual minorities also. Sexual minorities also, I mean, what is that? They are also human beings. Their rights cannot be violated. So they also treated as per their, I mean, gender identity. So their gender identity, we cannot look them down because of their gender identity. So when there is, I mean, SIDA, which is where the government or Indian government is also signatory, which is to eliminate discrimination against women and girls. That was, I think, sorry, I don't remember the year, but where Indian government, because it was a signatory, it has to follow all the acts and the laws which is there for women and girl children and children. Similarly, now they also, what is it? This for LGBT, eliminating discrimination against children and parents based on sexual orientation or sexual identity, was, I mean, implemented in November 2014. States all children, irrespective of their actual or perceived sexual orientation or gender identity, have the right to safe and healthy childhood that is free from discrimination. Now it is actually, I mean, they are coming, or there are two organizations in Bangalore. One is called Solidarity, and the other one is called Sangama. They are fighting for their rights, and then they are also working on the I mean, empowerment of the sexual minorities. So all this, why gender discrimination, gender inequality, and gender stereotypes, norms, roles, and responsibility, all this because of the ideology that we follow. It's a patriarchy ideology, where the men hold the greatest power, leadership role, and dominate. And because of, they say, the, I mean, what is it? They have a control over the entire society. So it is not, I mean, it's not that it has disappeared, but it is there in all the societies across globe, even in India. But in India, it has in different forms. Sorry. In other countries, it has in a different forms. So I could say almost all the, I mean, uh, social, what to say, no, I don't want to use the word social, I mean, anti-social things. But anyway, that is the word generally it is used. The early marriage or the child marriage is result of this patriarchy. There are other things also result of the patriarchy. The women getting less wage in the unorganized sector, or women, the domestic violence. These all things is all due to the patriarchy ideology. So therefore, we have to address this patriarchy ideology. And again, this patriarchy ideology is again, I mean, continued from ages. Almost it's a 5,000 years ago. We could see this patriarchy ideology from past 5,000 years, which is prominent, and which is, I mean, continues to play its role. That is because of the this, even the structures, institutions, which all has this patriarchy ideology. So because this patriarchy ideology, we also, I mean, bring in with this ideology the structural barriers. Because of this patriarchy ideology, what happens? Even in the institutions, one is a family, one is an institution, and other institutions, organized institutions, like it could be, I mean, a legal area, or it could be schools, or it could be any, I mean, companies, factories, or wherever it is. So we could see that is this patriarchy ideology is, I mean, exhibited. Uh, it is not only by men; it can be exhibited by both men and women, which actually which brings in the, or which impacts on women and girls, and also the weaker section of the male society, where it prevents them getting either status in the society, or the economic status, or the political status, or any other, I mean, status within the societies or community, or in any other institutions. this mindset, the patriarchy mindset actually prevents us to bring in the gender equality in all these organizations. For example, we could see that is, I mean, when a woman is beaten, if she goes to the police station, uh, generally the police will say, okay, anyway, it's your husband. No, it's after all your husband. So what if he beats? These are the, I mean, attitudes we get from the police. And again, that's an institution where it has to be neutral gender, and it has to support both women and girls, and also for that matter other people. But that sensitivity is not, I mean, is lacking. And when it comes to, I mean, judgment also, so there are, I mean, judgments that is against women if she goes for a divorce or if she goes for a alimony. So these are the things we can see it. And I could see I, Rajesh, some disturbance is there. So even in I could hear from my friends, one of the friend, she is an advocate. I mean, when she was actually in 2005, post 2005, and this act against domestic violence was implemented. Actually, she was fighting for the women against this domestic violence. So she was called, homebreaker in Kannada, Mane Murkaru. So these are the words they used to listen from the from our colleagues, and even even the legal fraternities. So these are called the structural barriers. So all this patriarchy ideology which we imbibe and which we inculcated from the childhood onwards is actually placed with or without our knowledge, even in our working area. And it also, I mean, it follows by gender, structural discriminations in the policies, and in even other institutions. So now we'll come to the definition of empowerment. What is this? Yes. So what is empowerment? So we thought about gender, all the gender, glossaries, gender nomenclatures, where gender equality becomes an important part of it. So gender equality also leads to the, empowerment of the women. So it is gender and empowerment are the two sides of the same coin, because it is inseparable. We have to have a gender equality only if we provide the space and platform for the women, then she can raise a voice and question, and also have her own saying for her own well-being. So therefore here empowerment actually refers, it could be personal, political, social, or economic strength of the individuals and communities, where women and girls concerns women and girls gaining power and control over their own lives. It involves awareness raising, building self-confidence, expansion of choices, increased access to control and over resources, and actions to transform the structures and institutions which reinforce and perpetuate gender discrimination and inequality. So that when we say this is one is we have to create awareness of the self, what's our status in the society, within the family, and to overcome our secondary status or the inferior complex, then we have to build a confidence in her, one. And then the other thing is we have to have a choice for her to for example, in a choice in the sense, if she is, again, I'll take the example of domestic violence. If she is, if she cannot live in the violent environment, then she has to have a choice to come out of the house. I'm not saying that is for one or, when it's a, when she decides, the decision is her choice, and she has to decide for her life. She has to decide the whether the environment is conducive or not for her. Then only she will come out. When she comes out, there should be a platform, or there should be a place where she can go, and choices. So that's what one choice is, that is one stop center where she can go. The other choice can be friends. The other choice can be parents. The other choice can be, if she want to live independently, then she has to have a economic, support. So these are the choices she needs. These are the choices helps her to have a self confidence when she doesn't want to live in the violent environment where she cannot bear anymore. So then there are, it follows by the resources. It could be economic resources, medical resource, and the legal resource. Most of the women, why they will not, fight against the cases, because of the monetary support. They don't have a monetary support, so therefore they will not go to the police, or they will not go to the court, but they will endure all the violence. So these are the things that we have to support her to have a resource for her to lead a self-esteemed life. Then the empowerment is like, she has to control, or any individual has to control their own destiny. Not only, but they must have a equal capabilities on education, health. One is anyway the platform is provided, schemes are there, but if she doesn't have a capacity, then it is difficult for her to access the resources. Therefore we have to see that she also capable, train or provide us support to become a capable person to access these resources and opportunities. And we have to have agencies where the agency can support. It could be family, or it could be society, community. There are community leaders who support, and in the villages there is a panchayat, and there is also a education system, and all the, free legal aid cell, then women health center, this Gelati or one stop center. These are the agencies which support them to exercise their rights, and also have a decision, to decide for their own life, and also they can become a leaders, participate in the political situations. Okay, some of the definitions. So, according to Caroline Moser, the empowerment is defined as a redistribution of power. We'll go to the next slide. What is the power and what are different types of power? And the other person, the Marley Carl, says that is empowerment is a sense of gaining control of participation in decision making. One is a redistribution of power, then decision making, and the change the balance of power. It is not, they are not saying that is when we redistribute the power or change the power, it is not power lies only with the women. So now the power is only with the patriarchy system. So the power can be distributed equally, and the power can be balanced equally between the both the members of the family, male and female members of the family. So then so we have a different, while planning programs and then projects to empower women, we have to empower women, girls, and the children. We have to think about the different forms of power. One is a power over. So already the patriarchy ideology is a power over, where the person has a, control over the resource. It could be education, money, or the area where he or she lives, and then the authority. So this is called the power over. And power with. With power with is the actually sharing power equally and support each other, which becomes a solidarity, and also in collaboration. This is like a, so you might have heard about the most of the NGOs which work with the women's and children's. They form collectives, women collectives or men collectives, even for that matter, even the NGOs that works with the agriculture farmers. Farmers, they do have a farmers collectives, and then different forms of collectives are there, where they actually fight for the same common, fight for the common issues, and also they bring in change. They become a social agent, a social change agent in bringing this power equal, or power with, power within, power two. So again, this power two is also not only as one person I mean, having all the powers, but power two is also sharing with others. And for example, if the child, I mean adolescent girls or boys, if they have a say in the family, so they can postpone their I mean child marriage or early marriage. They can convince their parents, so because they have that power, in the sense they have that knowledge, so that they can convince the parents. So again, I'm bringing in the examples of my field, Mala Samakya and other organizations. They do have I mean adolescent groups, collectives, where the adolescent groups, I mean, try to stop the child marriage and support even women and child development anganwadi teachers to I mean stop child marriage and early marriage, convince their parents. This is possible because the I mean adolescents, they do have that power because of the knowledge and skills and also talent. They are part of the adolescent groups. Then power within, the power is I mean that is internal. So unless if you have a power within, so you cannot have this, I mean have developed this confidence, and you don't feel that you are a self-worth, or your self-esteem, you don't feel that your self-esteem is stripped. Therefore developing power within important. So empowerment should be understood while I mean planning programs for I mean making women or girls, children, I mean empowerment. So we have to think about these four types of power, where it happens generally even in the collectives also. Most of the time what happens, even within the women groups, the dominant women always dominate and control other women members. So we have to be very careful while uh, I mean while empowering women, that this power war has to be I mean narrowed down. So they have to have this power with, power to, and power within. This is, I thought, I mean this picture was I mean from Asmin Chopra. It's where she has written an article about the understanding empowerment. This picture was there. I thought it's nice to show to our group, so I brought in this. Yeah. Yeah, already have said gender equality and women's empowerment are the same, two sides of the same coin, because progress, when you think progress towards gender equality, it needs gender empowerment. And if you want to have a women's empowerment, it needs to be gender equality. So without gender equality, women's empowerment is not possible, or without women's empowerment, gender equality will not have its its full strength of the bringing in human rights value among the group. So why it is? Because gender inequality, when I say it's a universal, it is there. Gender inequality is there across globe. Not that it is not there. I have been reading some of the, case studies, even the other, UK, US case studies. I could see the same, domestic violence, what I could see in India. Similar, the patriarchy ideology is there across the globe. So therefore, so we have to understand that gender inequality and vulnerability of women in all area, either it could be a economic or social, political, education, healthcare, or nutrition, legal, is evident. Where already I have shared some of the examples with the legal thing, where the police will not support the women, or even judgment sometimes will be against the women. So the same thing happens when it comes to healthcare or nutrition. In all our households, we can see most of the time the women, tend to neglect her health, or tend to have whatever she can eat. Okay, it's okay, but when it comes to nutrition, she thinks about most of the time a spouse and the children's, so our family members. So this is inequality, but they don't think that it is an inequality because of the, I mean, gender stereotype or gender socialization. Even for that matter, even the education also there is, when if they could afford education for one child, so generally what happens, they prefer the, I mean, spending money on the boy rather than the girls. So there is still that inequality is there. Already we saw in the political, generally we think politics means it's for men. So even in the Gram Panchayat things, though it is a 50%, but most of the time, because of the reservation, women do get elected, but women will not exercise a power. In her place, her husband or son or male member of her family are the one who, I mean, control her to deliver our duty as a elected person. So this is common in a Gram Panchayat across Karnataka in most of the places where if women is like earlier I said, if she doesn't have a I mean choice, or if she doesn't have a control over resources like knowledge and power is given but knowledge is not there, or our attitude or the socialization, gender stereotype socialization also, I mean, brings her to listen to what the her family male member, I mean, advises or says. So therefore, there is still inequality in the politics also. Of course, the economic in unorganized sector, women paid less than the men for the same hour, for same work. So this is there still it exists. And yeah, already I've said rural women, so they suffer both economically and socially, and they are most of the women are invisible, though they have, I mean, spent or they're important and substantial economic roles. So they actually, we do have a one case study where we have to, we used to use a case study where, as you know, the hours spent by women in daily chores and also by men. So I mean, it is of course it is everywhere. It is there most of the time. The women, if she gets up morning 5 o'clock and then she goes to sleep 10 by doing all the household chores. And if it is a working woman, or if she goes to the, I mean, if she is a daily wager also, she has to do both household chores as well as outside the house. But it is not so with the men. So therefore, so her work becomes here invisible because it is not measured by monetary sources. So therefore, the process of empowerment will bring change in the gender relations within the family and society. Like already I have said, I mean, in the definitions we saw, that is, one is a self-esteem and self-confidence, choices, questioning, and decision-making power, control over resources. All this makes women, I mean, empowered and bring in gender relations equally both within the family and outside the society. So it is not only a crucial to achieve gender equality within the family, community, and society, but it is also a catalyst for states. For example, if if you have a, I mean, we already saw that is 50% of population are women. But anyway, in India, it's a 48%, slightly less than 50%. So this 50%, though it is a less than little 50%, the women also, I mean, spend 67% of hours in the unpaid work, and they do contribute to the state's economic development. So therefore, without empowerment, without equal status, she provides almost 67%. If she's educated and if she's empowered, I'm not saying she's not educated, she's educated. When I say educated, if she has a knowledge and control over resources, and our contribution to the society and the state will be more than 67%. Therefore, so it becomes a crucial for crucial to achieve gender equality. I mean the through the empowered women. So the aim of the empowerment is to, one is to challenge subordination and subjugation. When I say challenge, it is not, the fight. So most of the time, that's what when we, women activist or feminist or the person who is a gender or community empowerment experts, if they say that you have to challenge your subordinate, secondary status or subordination or subjugation, they think, oh, whether you have to fight. You people come here to break the family. It's not so. So you have to challenge in such a way that is sensitize even the family members. We have seen a lot of examples in our working area, that is when we sensitize women. So women in turn, they do sensitize their family members. They have got support. For example, I said already space and time. Space and time is the women used to gather after 7 p.m, after 6 or 7 p.m. Once they come from the field and they do all the household chores at home, then come to the meeting. So to come to the meeting, they'll get support from their family members. So they used to help her to take care of the children, providing dinner, all those things by their male members. So this is called the sensitization through the women's group, so that they challenge subordination without breaking the family and without breaking the family and without disturbing the family unit. So this is one. And the other aim is to transform the structures and systems institutions. Again, I'll take the example of gram panchayat members. Now earlier it was only 33%, now it is a 50%. So there is a with the system, in the political system, now the women also get 50%. We have to have a 50% of women members in the gram panchayat. So then again, so within the family also we can see that is the property rights. Nowadays even the girls have property rights. They can claim their properties. These all again we will discuss without friction, without tension within the family, with like already I've said, with the power with, power to, power within. uh, i mean uh, understanding what is power with, power to, that can be transformed within the family and sensitized, and then they can get the land rights. So these are the, this is how we have to transform the structure, systems, and institutions where the inequality can be narrowed down and the equal choices and equal chances can be given to both boys and girls, men and women. And it will reduce the top down approach. For example, in the government, most of the schemes other facilities are, earlier it was a top down approach, later it becomes, all the departments of the government, they have need based assessments, where now the programs and the projects are planned with the community. So from top down, it has become a bottom to top approach that we can see mostly even in the Gram Panchayat, because all the development works is discussed with the community and planned annually with the members in the community. So then again, enable women. We have to, because already I said, I told that is the patriarchy ideology is 5,000 years old. So we have already, thought and thinking this, the status of women is natural, being a subjugated or being a secondary status. So we have to enable or sensitize first women and girls, that is, so you are not second, no, you don't have a secondary status, you are also as equal to women. You are, all your status is on par with the men, therefore you can equally access your control, access to and control over resources. Either it could be knowledge, monetary resources or human resources. So that first we have to sensitize women to understand that her status is equal to men. And again, challenging patriarchal. When I say challenging patriarchal system, it's only ideology, but we are not challenging the men. That we have to understand. Most of the time, when we discuss in the field or even sometimes with my friends also, so they think, okay, you challenge men. So it's not challenging men or it's not challenging. I mean, it is not against men. It is challenging only ideology. And patriarchy ideology not just lies only with the men, even the women also can be patriarchal. So therefore, the patriarchal is
ಏನು ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ ಮಮ್ಮಿ ಒಬ್ರು ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಬಾಗಿ ಕೊಡೋದು.
Now, what are the components of empowerment? The first component of empowerment is economically independence. So this is a critical component. Most of the time we think, okay, once women is economically independent, oh, she is empowered. It's not so. So I have seen so many of my friends, though they earn every month, but they have to give their salary to her husband or to her in-laws. She doesn't have a control over her own money. So therefore, it is not, we cannot say that is if she is earning, she is empowered. So therefore, though it is a critical component, but economic independence, access to and control over productive resources, if it is not there and she is not empowered economically. So she becomes economically empowered only when she has a say in it and she has a control over her earned money or her property or her say in the decision of the family properties or family economic or finance status. So that is, and second one is the knowledge, and so knowledge, awareness about the society, about the self. Knowledge is, it could be everything. I mean, knowledge is not only, I mean, going to school or college or learning. That knowledge is one, but the apart from that, the knowledge about health issues, legal rights, and then other technological issues, and then so and availability of the social and economic resources, how to take advantage of it. For example, now during COVID, what happened? So schools were shut down, but when the during online classes, it's only the boys were given the mobile phone, but not the girls. So this is, yeah, from my field experience. So when we used to have a, online class for the girls also. So we used to get a that girls girls used to be all most of the time used to be absent. So we came to know why that is, because they are not getting mobile phone. But I'm not blaming girls or parents for that matter, because parents can afford only one phone where it is not shared, but it is only given to the boys. So these, and because of that, I mean, she is not used to mobile phone and she cannot use the technology. And that is also another thing. So girls cannot use technology, only boys can use technology. So she want to use, I mean, she want to be technical savvy, technological savvy or mobile savvy. She has to have a knowledge on how to use that mobile for online classes. So this, I mean, this is just a small example. Likewise, there are more examples where the women and girls, they should get the knowledge on all the area where which empowers them to have control over resources. Third component is a self-image. So most of the time, so when we discuss with the women, they say, okay, so anyway, I can't do this is, I can't do that is. So that is there already. As you know, can't do attitude is more with the women, because they feel that they are women, so they are inferior. So therefore, they don't have a capacity or capabilities, or they're not potential. So therefore, they can't do anything. So these image, these self-image or the attitude towards them, we have to break it. So therefore, it becomes very important for us to sensitize them on their self-esteem and bring in self-confidence, and tell them that for them the self-image, which is important, which is optimistic and which is positive, they have to convert that negative self-image into a positive self-image to have economic independence and also other, say in the society, within the family and the community. So therefore, sensitizing them, for them, it becomes very important. The fourth component is autonomy. So most of the time, so women are controlled by, male members, either father, husband, or son. Uh, Even for that matter, they don't want to take risk also sometimes. So therefore, we have to tell them that is self autonomy becomes a very important. So they have to realize they are self individual. So they cannot be dependent always on everyone. So so therefore, as you know, that bringing again sensitizing how self-autonomous is very important for a woman to become empowered, and to participate either within the family matters or outside the family matters, and take part in decision making process, so that she will be considered as one of the important person within the family or outside the family, and she will be considered as equal to men when she has this self confidence, and she feels that is she is autonomous, can have decision on her own, and can support family in whatever way, by deciding by her decision the family is also, supported, and family also becomes a prosperous. So these four, components are, is one of Hapke who has written these four components becomes very important for the empowerment of the women. So I got it from my one of the, I mean, research material. Now various approaches we used to have a different approaches to empower women. One approach is the thematic approach in Samakya, like already I have said, the economic alone will not make women become, she's empowered. So she has to have a knowledge on health, and then economic resources, and then the politics, and other matters outside the family or within the family, and legal informations. For example, if she's one of the member of self-help group, she has to know what is the banking system, what is the finance, all those things. So therefore, all the, different themes are important for her to become a empowered. So that is why, so we call it as a empowerment of women through education. Education is not that the literacy, adult literacy, or school going, or college going, but the education here is a overall education where women is aware of all the informations that helps her to become independent. Then the other one is an integrated approach. So integrated approach, it becomes a, most of the time the women alone, she cannot fight for her rights or for her independence or for her equality or equity. So she needs support from the other women's. So therefore, it's important to form the women's collective, where the women's collectives can engage in developmental activities and also other social issues, where they can help each other to get social justice or gender justice. So I could bring in one example. So in one of our field area, the one woman was not, I mean, attending the meeting. Continuously, she was not attending the meeting. So then all the other women members asked her why she's not attending. Then she told that is her husband is alcoholic, so he's not allowing her to attend the meeting. So then next day, the women asked him why she's not allowing her. But then she said, okay. He told, no, 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 I'm not depriving her from attending meeting. I'm not saying anything. She's just telling a lie. So women thought, yes, she might be lying. She must be lying. So then after three consecutive meeting, again she stopped coming. Then when they asked, then she told her, as no, you people did not believe me, but the issue is really is not allowing me to. If I attend the meeting, I'll get beatings. So then what they did, okay, to get the evidence and also to observe what's happening, what they decided, they said, they told her, yeah, we will support you. But what we will do is they planned a strategy like, so today you don't attend the meeting, but you be at home. So we will be outside your house, hiding. Then we will see what's happening. Then yes, that day, and also they told her that is just you make some noise when your husband is beating you. So just drop a plate or whatever it is. So then yeah, she agreed, and then that day is no. The women they stopped meeting, and then they all gathered near her house without his knowledge. Then he started beating her with his alcoholic condition. Then she actually, when she dropped the plate, all women entered her house, and then pulled him his collar and then brought him outside. But they take up this action just to shame him so that he will not do again. So when they asked him why he's doing, and why he said why he lied last time. So then he felt guilt, and he was ashamed of. Then he said, okay, next time Anush, he will not do that. He will send her wife, he will send his wife to attend the meeting. Saying so, then he changed his behavior and supported her in attending meeting, all those things. So that way, the collective, actually, the action plays a very important role in bringing in changes within the society, even within the family. And he stopped drinking also. So that's why earlier when I said, as you know, challenging subjugation and subordination is not, uh, I mean, uh, upfrontly, fighting or challenging with the male members, but it is to make them realize that what they're doing is not correct, so that they can be a supportive and they can be a cooperative. With the cooperation, the family could be, a family could prosper us. This is how they'll change, bring in change. So therefore, the collective action becomes very important. So, and they also will take up literacy classes and organize health camps, mobilize women to attend the conferences, and then campaigns where they can bring in change, where they can uh, attract the government, even the society, even the community, to bring in just gender justice, and then see that their rights are not violated. Then it's a consciousness raising. This is very important. Already I've said, I talked about in the self-image. So raising women's consciousness becomes very important. So unless we raise their consciousness, with the patriarchy ideology, they continue to, play the role of stereotype role of what the patriarchy system has prescribed them. They will not bring in change within themselves, and also they will not support their family or girls, and even for that matter boys. Because when we talk about gender sensitization starts at home. The mother or father, the parents, they have to treat both the children equally and support equally, and also make them equally work all the works without introducing gender stereotype. So therefore, this, consciousness raising becomes very important for, for her, and also for her children, irrespective of gender, caste, and class. So these gender inequality varies from family to family, area to area, and caste, class, and a religion. So we have to take into consideration the caste, class, religion, ethnicity, and the area, either it's a rural or urban. With all those things, we have to, or upper class, or lower class. With all this, keeping that in mind, we have to raise consciousness among the women. So once she is self-sensitized, then it is next level is easy for others to help her to become. She becomes empowered women. So education becomes a central point in consciousness raising. Already have said that is, I don't want to repeat it again. Education is beyond the classroom education here. So see, unless if women is already unless women's consciousness is raised, she will not come out from that subordinated status or the secondary status, and a perception of her being secondary status will continue and will affect her and also our family. So that's important. So, and also she has to recognize her value, what's her value in the society, and how she can acquire sense of self-confidence and self-esteem. So this all becomes very important to empower women. So when we plan the program for women's empowerment. The other one is the research and training is very important. So when we plan the program or project, so we have to have the component of research and the capacity building within that program and the project. Unless we build the capacity of the women on all these issues, like the previous slides, like gender sensitization, bringing in all the gender glossaries, and also difference. What is gender equality and what is empowerment, why empowerment is important, what is patriarchy ideology. So to raise awareness on this, we have to have a training component within this project or programs. So therefore, and also like already have said, endline, baseline and endline is also, sometimes the midline is also plays very important role, so that whether are we going on the right track or not, whether are we what is our objective. So it's a empowerment of women through education. If it is empowerment of women through education is an objective, then to fulfill that objective, are we going in the right track or not? So we need to have a midline survey also. So therefore this component also plays a very important role in in assessing a program and project towards gender equality and empowerment. So when I say capacity building, it is not only training, it is also, materials development and campaigns, conferences, workshops, or orientations. All this makes a part of, capacity building. Yeah. So then women also, and not only women become a social change agent, they also become advocate of a general, gender issues and empowerment issues with other women members in the community, not only for the women, even for the men and adolescent girls and boys. So that's how they play a very crucial role. Once if they are empowered, once if they have self-esteem, self-image, and they have a control, access and control over resources. Finally, there are women's network where women participate in, I mean, different forums and different conferences, so that which gives them a I mean, which increases their confidence level and also self-esteem level, thinking that they are not the lone person who are sailing in the same boat, but there are other women who are also like them, who can be, I mean, supported each other, and the group becomes solid group to fight against or challenge the patriarchy ideology. So strategies adopted. The strategies I have already said, space and time. That is, unless, so why we thought strategy, space and time is very important. So most of the time, it could be, I mean, government or NGO, they used to, I mean, visit villages during day times. Or daytime, the women will not be there, because most of the women, they are wage workers, so they'll be in the field. So we will not get any women. So we have to visit village and come empty handed. So therefore, when women are available, or when I mean, our stakeholders are available, that is the time we have to visit the village, or we have to visit the area and plan for the programs, trainings or meetings. Or so therefore this strategy becomes very important. Already the other important strategy is the capacity building. So that I already have said. And then the other important strategy is, that is, with the entire process, there should be a, I mean, the approach that they take is mobilization. Mobilization becomes a very important strategy, because unless the collective becomes strong when you mobilize the group for any stakeholders. For example, even for that matter, even the when the organization is working with the farmers, they have to mobilize farmers. When they are working with the cooperative societies, they have to mobilize the the other people who are into dairy farming, so, or other members who are wanted to be financially empowered. So therefore this mobilization becomes very important, to mobilize the different stakeholders for that particular program or project to become success. Yeah, other the important strategy is the field-based program, where action research is important. So if you have a action research tool in your program or project, then you can, I mean, if it is a project is for 3 years, so your action research will help, to have a research tool like I mean, qualitative, that is a group discussion, or I mean, collecting some case studies. So looking at it, analyzing whether you are on the same track or not, so that whether you can tweak it, the program or project, or you can bring in some changes or amend the changes. So for that, the field-based program action research becomes very important strategy. So indicators. So we do have indicators. Without indicators, we cannot assess whether whether the group, is empowered, or we can see whether there is a gender equality or equity, or gender sensitization. So therefore, we have two types of indicators. One is a qualitative indicators, and the other one is a quantitative indicators. Qualitative indicators generally, that is to assess whether there is an increase in self-esteem, either as an individual or as a collective, confidence. The other thing is, I mean, the women are whether articulating, or whether they are vocal, or they are aware of the issues that they were taught, or they were shared. What is their awareness level on different issues within the community, or as a woman particular. So for example, in most of the groups, what happens, if you don't, there is always the power with or power to is becomes difficult for them. So if you have a group of 20 women, only 5 or 6 will be dominating, or 5 or 6 will be vocal, 5 or 6 will be articulating. Then through 7 seconds. Rajesh? Mr. Puttaraju?
Yeah.
Missed. Yeah. So what happens then? If it's among 20 women or 20 any other group of 20, so all the 20 should have equal say in it, or the 20 should all the 20 should vocal and articulating. So this is we will get from the qualitative indicators. While when we have a group discussion, we will know that is only four are discussing, or only four are answering, or only four are talking. The other rest all what they are doing it. So therefore this second indicator becomes very important in the whether the women are empowered either individually or as a collective. So most of the time as a collective they are very vocal and articulating, but when it becomes to individuality, so they most of the time they are very silent, or they cannot fight, or they cannot challenge the patriarchy ideology. So therefore it is important each and every member of the group to challenge the patriarchy ideology. So this assessment helps us. And then decrease workload. Within the family, we can look at it, whether the woman's workload is decreased, or whether she gets rest or not, whether she is able to, spend some time for herself, like attending meeting or attending workshops, attending training. So only when her workload is reduced, she can attend all those things. How the workload is reduced? Her workload is reduced within her family when the work is shared among the family members. So this I have seen even in the villages when when we had a sensitization program with boys and men, then they realized, so when the women want to attend meeting, that she has to have some place, some space and some time for her. So therefore they used to support her. So support her in household chores like dressing up the kids and sending them to school, or helping her in the cooking, or it's household chores. So that way is then we can we can assess that yes, women is empowered, women is also able to challenge within the family, and women is also sensitized. In turn, she is also sensitizing her family members. So then the other strategy, other indicator is, respond to changes. So we have seen some of the women, so when they discuss, now we have a intersectionality and intergeneration discussion, because the older one always think that is, so they're not open to changes for the younger ones. Yeah, they're not they are not open to changes for the younger ones ideas and then aspirations. So then we have to see that the elder one or the older one supports the younger one uh, in the modern area of what is their aspirations, what is their what is their challenges, what they wanted to do. So then only they will get the support. So therefore this indicator also becomes very important, whether the women are responding to the changes within the family or outside the family of the current scenario. Some of the examples are child marriage, dowry, discrimination against widow. Still, we'll see that discrimination against widow across either it's a town or a city or a village. So they have to, yeah, that's why what I say is gender sensitization becomes very important even for the women, so that they will support the woman who is a widow. Yeah, of course, the domestic violence, decrease in domestic violence and forms of violence. Then the other strategy is bargaining and negotiating power. So women have to bargain, negotiate with the other family members, other individuals, either within the family or the society. So then the participation level in attending public meetings, trainings, programs. Most of the time, what happens, when we organize a training or conference or a campaign, some of the women they'll say, "Oh, I can't come because I have this work, that work. I have to attend all those things." So we have to see that the participation level is also increased in all these public meetings, trainings, and then conferences. And changes in the roles and responsibility, that is it generally it becomes a gender equality. And then increase in access and ability to gather information, knowledge on their own. So that is another indicator. So sometimes women dependent on other women or family members to acquire the knowledge. They proactively they will not collect the information, or they will not collect the knowledge that is relevant for them. So we have to, whether that has been increased proactively, whether they are proactive in collecting informations or acquiring knowledge, either within the family or outside the family, all those things. Then the positive changes, that is also another. Then quantitative indicators, this is again maternal mortalities. I have to be hurry because the time is almost up. So just I'll read this. This is where quantitative is, we'll get all the numbers, whether the mortality rate is decreased or not, sex ratio is equal, and then the women participants, these are all the numbers. I mean, we all know quantitative because, yeah, so thus the various level of empowerment can be described by applying these indicators in the study of women's empowerment. So, well, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
I hope I'm able to, I
Hmm.
won't say convince, I'm able to at least, bring in some information to you all.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Uh, Do you have any questions? Do you have time for questions? Dear friends, I'm audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I just wanted to have a clarity on a point that you presented in your presentation. Is like a response to and change in social and other customs that are anti-women. So what we are counting over here, those customs which stop or comes as a, the bottleneck in terms of women coming out for their responsibilities.
Please come again, come again.
So there was a point in your presentation. Okay,
Yeah.
just wanted to have a clarity on this, where I think it was towards the end, where you just highlighted that response to and change in social and other customs that are anti-women. So what we are actually referring to the in terms of customs and social and other customs which are anti-women over here.
Yeah, some of the, see, for example, in India, we do have this child marriage and early forced marriage. So this
Okay,
is
okay.
one of the custom. And also in other, other places like, if I'm not wrong, so we do have Samakya even in Assam, other places. So before, whether she is interested or not, the girl child is, dedicated to in the Kamakya temple. Similarly, here also in Karnataka also, some of the girls from the particular community are dedicated to, goddesses Yellama. So, yeah, these are some of the, customs which are anti-women. So we have to challenge those customs, and women have to respond to those custom and bring in changes in those customs. So anyway, the change is happening. I'm not saying the change is not happening, but after COVID, what happened again in Karnataka, as per our statistics, the early marriage has been increased. So post COVID, so we have to, I mean, break.
Ma'am, then I want to also have your opinion on this. This is very the examples that you're citing is very with reference to some marginalized groups. But when it comes to the urbanized women, working women, or even I will say the rural women who are into the workforce, and it doesn't matter whatever the nature of that workforce is. Do you think that the stricter gender norms are also anti-women? Because that is somewhere because what I see, if we try to look at the world data, yes, women participation is increasing, no doubt about it. Okay, but it is limiting to the only the middle level. Reaching to the higher level is still is not is a dream, is yet to dream come true, ma'am. So is that these the stricter gender norms are also anti-women, which is serving as a bottleneck for the growth of women or women empowerment, even I would say, because women because of their cultural conditioning and to have their mental equivalence, they give up the things also because role conflict, what are the demands of the profession, what is the demand at home, because right now what I think of women of working women is like uh, she has to act like a Durga, which is not possible, having a multi hand
Yes.
and the multi mental set, which at times and she does not accept the defeat, whether it is at a personal front or professional front, because professional front she's afraid of being tagged that she's a woman, that's why she's shying away or is trying to make certain pleas using her gender not to perform up to the mark. Okay, so these are the things what do you think is not that working as anti-women kind of stricter gender norms?
So instead of using the word anti-women here for the gender norms, it's actually, I mean, the ideology. That's a patriarchy ideology that we have to challenge. Yes, of course. What happens? Yeah, like you said, it's a dream come true. So one of the study, just I was yesterday reading it. That is, so to look at the equal society. I mean. Gender equality and all the women and then the marginalized men no, to see that empowerment, to see that I mean the equal leadership in all the arena, it'll take almost next 250 years somewhat. That's what they're giving the statistics. So yeah, it is, as you know, what happens, this is our ideology is a 5,000-year-old ideology, so it's not so easy for us to come out from that. So sometimes even if we, I mean, even if we so I'm empowered, somewhere what happens, consciously or unconsciously, I tend to, I mean, bring in that stereotype, I mean, roles and
It's a cultural
responsibilities.
product of cultural conditioning,
Yes.
ma'am.
So it
One
takes
more thing.
time. So that's what we used to actually in our working area, we used to discuss with the women that this ideology, to challenge this ideology at the childhood, so that when the children were gender sensitized and then they were given an equal opportunity, slowly they also will change. But it is difficult to change at the older level. Uh, to bring
One
in the
more,
complete
yeah.
changes. Yeah. And
Maybe ma'am want, sorry, I'm sorry, really,
yeah,
ma'am.
and the other question is, yeah, in the urban area, yes, the to reach the higher level. So it takes time. That's what I said. The strategic gender needs. Strategic gender needs plays very important role. So if the women want to play multiple role, so one is yes, there should be a, I mean, shared responsibility within the family. So if it is a shared responsibility, definitely she can reach that higher level and perform even within the organization without saying, oh, I have this, I have that at home, I have to go. This is one thing. That's a support becomes very important for her within the
true,
family.
completely true.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
ma'am.
the second thing is, The other thing is like, I mean, there are the other strategic need is like a work from home. For example, the woman, if she delivered a baby 6 months, anyway, there is a maternity leave, and also now there is 15 days paternity leave for men also, so that father also can support in childcare. So for after 6 months, if she want to work, there should be a flexibility that she can work from home, at least part time or 6 hours, whatever it is, so that she will not be discontinued from that work. So that only if she discontinues, what happens? Our promotion
Yeah.
she
Yes.
she can't get promoted, and she can't reach the ladder of the career ladder of on par with her male counterpart. So if she gets this work from home facility, that means the organization has to have, I said, the gender balance. So organization, the staffing pattern, and these kind of flexibility and strategic gender need helps women to reach that level, but slowly, yes.